A woman named Ishik comes to an old and dilapidated house. The best years of her life have passed here, and she wants to reconnect with the friends she had in her school days. Letting the dog go, Ishik looks around the house and finds old things that seemed cute to her. Increasingly immersed in memories, the woman recalls long-ago events and friends from her youth. 1998. The students of an Istanbul school live their own lives, not adhering to conventional rules. Osman is a young and enterprising guy who finds a way to make money even where there is none. Being resourceful, he develops a system of selling ready-made homework, but the principal finds out about it and asks Osman to stop his business, otherwise he will be expelled from the school. Karen is a basketball player with a difficult and explosive character. Being the best player of the team, the guy does not hold back his emotions and beats up the referee who did not assign a foul in his favor. As a result, Karen is kicked out of the team, and he destroys everything around him. Ada is a troubled teenager who dreams of becoming a graphic designer. Being a beautiful girl, she seduces a teacher, but the principal catches the couple in the office and kicks the teacher out of school. Sinan is a desperate guy who never parts with his flask and often abuses alcohol. Appearing at school, he goes to bed and does not listen to the conversations of Ishik, an excellent girl with a big heart who has fallen in love with him. Soon, a competition between several neighboring schools begins at the school. Students from other schools come to participate in the intellectual battle. Osman uses this as an opportunity to set up a sweepstakes and takes bets on the winning school. Karen remains testy and smashes a music speaker over the head of a student who rudely responds to him. Meanwhile, Eda sneaks into the sound engineer's room and puts on a light show and tries to disrupt the intellectual battle. Sinan participates in one of the teams because Ishik called him. The guy has not given up the game, but continues to abuse alcohol. Eda is bored, so she throws a pen at Karen, which leads to a massive fight. Sinan, who was observing what was happening, accidentally leaves a flask behind the backstage, which leads to a fire. The teachers organize a meeting, more like a trial of 12 jurors. They listen to the students' excuses, but none of them apologize for their behavior. By rule, the teachers must vote unanimously to expel the students from the school. A teacher named Burju stands up for the students and votes against the punishment, causing the vote to fail and the students to remain in school. Realizing that they were on the verge, the students question Ishik and learn that only Burju supported them. On returning home, Sinan takes care of his grandfather and dog. Soon his father comes to visit him, but only to take away one of the paintings hanging on the wall. The principal receives a letter from the education department stating that Burju will be transferred to another school. The students soon learn of this and decide to join forces to keep the teacher here and get their school-leaving certificates. In a private conversation, the principal threatens to kick the students out of the school, but Burju is ready to defend them to the last. She will be transferred in 2 months, but she can postpone the transfer for another year. Unwilling to do so, the principal blatantly lies and promises not to kick the students out, plotting otherwise. In the evening, the 4 befriended troubled schoolchildren gather at Sinan's house. They learn that the boy lives only with his grandfather, as his father and mother have new families and have given up on their troubled son. Realizing that only Burju can save them, the students explore the possibility of keeping her at school and find a solution. The teacher has the right to choose the place of work in case she becomes the wife of an Istanbul resident. The next morning, the 4 troubled students turn to the excellent teacher for help. Ishik likes Burju and agrees to help them, as he does not want the teacher to be transferred to another school. Before implementing the plan, the students choose a man they will try to make the teacher fall in love with. The choice falls on the new physical education teacher, Kemal, who has good looks. In the present tense, Ishik sends letters to old friends inviting them to his destroyed house, but it is not a fact that all of them can come, as some are busy with their own affairs and there are those who are in prison. The 5 high school students begin to devise a plan to bring the teachers together. Ishik suggests having a romantic date, but the others find the idea too boring. Eda suggests that Burju and Kemal should make love, because bed is a stronger bond than feelings. The guys agree to her suggestion and decide to lure the teachers to a rock concert. In the evening, the friends celebrate, believing that their plan is ingenious and will definitely be realized. The next morning, Burju and Kemal meet in person at school. It seems to the woman that the new teacher is a real bore because they cannot find a common language. A little later, Ada, and Kerem play a scene. The girl confesses her love to one of the schoolchildren, and Kerem pounces on him with fists. Burcu stops the fight, but later Eda asks the teacher to go with them to a rock concert to ensure the safety of the schoolchildren. After that, they need to lure the gym teacher to the concert. He turns out to be a real bore and does not find common language with Kerem and Osman. Sinan and Ishik act more cunningly, as a result of which the teacher has to buy a ticket to the concert. Ishik is brought up in a strict family and obeys her mother in everything, so she thinks that she will not be allowed to go to the concert. Her friends decide to help and pretend to be good schoolchildren to persuade her mother to let her go to the concert. Hearing about the perfect family, Sinan runs home and drinks out of grief and frustration, then falls into the water. In the evening, the schoolchildren drag Burcu to the concert. Noticing Kemal's appearance, his friends try to bring him closer to the teacher, but the pair have no common topics of conversation. Kerem asks the teacher for help so that he can be alone with Ida and realizes that he has sincerely fallen in love with the girl. Sinan shows up at the concert later than the others and decides to act brazenly. He locks the teachers in the men's room, believing that this will help them get closer. Soon Kemal kicks the door in and the schoolchildren run home. After going to Eda's house, they watch the house of Burcu, who lives across the street. The schoolchildren hope that the PE teacher will give the teacher a ride home, but it is too late. Ishik, Sinan, and Osman leave, leaving Eid and Kerem alone. They soon notice the teachers and are delighted to see that Kemal has entered Burcu's apartment. At the same time, Kerem finally realizes that he has fallen in love with Edu and wants to kiss her. Preparing for a reunion with his former classmates, Ishik continues to recall his friend's adventures back in 1998. Kemal gave his teacher a ride home, but noticed that she was very cold. The woman didn't have her house keys, as she had to give her purse to the schoolboys before going to the men's restroom. Turning out to be a not-so-bad man, Kemal broke down the teacher's door and helped her get home. Noticing that she was getting chills and might be sick, the teacher made her some coffee to warm her up. After drinking a little, the couple started chatting sweetly and didn't notice how the time passed. Ida and Kerem were happy, assuming they had succeeded in realizing the plan and bringing the teachers closer together. Feeling in love, the guy decided to kiss his classmate, but she bit his lip and rejected him, suggesting Kerem to go home soon. Meanwhile, Sinan decided to walk Ishik home so that the girl would not return alone and would not be afraid of bullies. The excellent girl also showed concern towards the guy and gave her scarf so that he would not get cold and sick on the way home. After spending the whole evening together, Kemal and Burcu became very close. They turned out to be nice and pleasant people, and alcohol allowed their best sides to come out. At night, the gym teacher helped the teacher to get to bed and go to sleep, while he himself stayed on the couch. In the morning, she was shocked, but invited Kemal to breakfast. At some point, the couple realized that they were falling in love with each other. Frightened by her feelings, Burcu accidentally breaks dishes and cuts her hand, after which she chases the man out of the house. In the morning, Sinan meets his father again, who continues to take things out of the house. The man has nothing sacred and takes even a cup of tea from his son's hands to take it to his new wife. A little later, the schoolchildren observe Kemal and Burcu's behavior and realize that they are not looking at each other, which means that the plan has failed. The principal keeps threatening the schoolchildren with expulsion and asks Ishik not to associate with bad company, but Sinan gives him a decent verbal rebuff. One of the teachers offers Kemal to make love, but he rejects her. At the test work, Sinan ignores the teacher, but Ishak decides to help the guy and writes the test instead of him, but from himself he hands in a blank sheet and gets a terrible grade. Burcu learns from her teacher friend that she dreams of having an affair with the PE teacher. Kemal notices during lunch how Burcu ignores him and defiantly agrees to build a relationship with another woman. Sinan causes a scandal because Ishik helped him. As a result, the friends fight and decide not to socialize anymore. When they return home, everyone calms down as best they can. Ada cries and paints, Kerem fights with a crowd of hooligans, and Sinan gets drunk and drowns the remaining dishes in the sea to avoid giving them to his father. Ishik cries and feels painful about what has happened, as she wanted to take pictures with her friends and now has to do it alone. In the present tense, Ishik continues to prepare for dinner and a reunion with old friends. At one point, A chandelier falls on the table and spoils the solemnity of the moment. Ishik gets upset as he suddenly notices Sinan's flask and remembers the past again. After a quarrel with his friends, Sinan takes it hard and notices Ishik pulling away from him by moving to another desk. Meanwhile, Burju has dirty dreams involving the gym teacher. The woman is disturbed by this as she tries to stay away from the man but at the same time keeps thinking about him. Osman does not miss the opportunity to build another business and earn a little money. Kerem is a great basketball player and this helps Osman win at betting, after which he gives Kerem a gold bracelet to give to Ada. Meanwhile, Ada notices Kerem's absence from class and is sad, realizing that she is in love with him too. Sinan notices that Kamal is in love with Burja and realizes that the school children have a chance to implement the plan and successfully complete their studies. Ada meets Ishik and asks to talk to her sincerely to express her emotions. The girl dreams of being a graphic designer, but her parents have planned her life and want their daughter to become a rich man's wife. Kerem is the son of rich parents, but the girl does not know about it, as he carefully hides this fact. Sinan apologizes to his friends and offers to join forces again. Kamal is suffering because of an old leg injury. Sinan visits the teacher and offers him a drink to have a sincere talk with each other. The schoolboy is a good judge of character and becomes convinced that the gym teacher is a great man and perfect for Burju. The five create a new plan to bring the teachers closer together, but Burju ignores Kamal as she has a fiancé. Ishik is not ready to interfere in the teacher's relationship and break her future plans. Burju keeps herself aloof from her fiancé as she has really fallen in love with Kamal, though she is afraid to admit it to herself. Sinan gets to know Burju's fiancé better and realizes that he is a terrible man and only pretends to be good. To confirm his assumptions to his friends, Sinan goes out in a terrible downpour wearing only a t-shirt. The man sees this, but does not sympathize with the guy and does not give him his jacket. He does so defiantly and only when Burju appears. Everyone realizes that her fiancé is a horrible person, but Ishik is still doubtful. The next morning, Sinan repeats the experiment, but this time with Kamal. The gym teacher seems callous and cruel, but turns out to be a good man and immediately gives his jacket to the schoolboy. The friends finally realize that they have to do everything they can to make Burju and Kamal a couple. At the same time, the teacher gets engaged to her fiancé. Sinan goes to the hospital but is refused treatment without his parents' consent. Not having a normal family, the guy leaves and passes out in the street due to high fever. Doctors notice Sinan lying not far from the hospital and still provide with first aid. A little later, the guy is allowed to go home, but he still doesn't feel well and falls asleep next to the washing machine. Ishik visits him to feed him warm soup. The girl does not hide her sympathy, but at some point she is distracted by the picture, afraid to confess her feelings. She also tells Sinan that Ada was at the teacher's house and found out about her engagement. Friends get together to discuss a new plan of action. The main thing for Osman is that Burju stays at school and does not leave Istanbul. If it is not possible to bring her together with Kamal, then they can negotiate with her current fiancé Tunke so that he cancels his decision to move from the capital of Turkey. Sinan warns that this is a slippery and materialistic person with whom it is better not to deal, but Osman wants to try to find a common language with him. Meanwhile, Ishik, Ada, and Kerem will continue to bring the teacher and the physical teacher closer together as they notice that there are feelings between them. The next morning, Osman meets Tunke and introduces him to his business. The guy organized a cafe at the school, which is very popular, as it takes into account the wishes of customers. Women cook for the cafe at home and do it better than anyone in Turkey, which brings Osman a good profit. He is ready to give 2 schools to Tunke, provided that he remains in Istanbul. Feeling the easy money, Burju's fiancé agrees to become the schoolboy's business partner. Meanwhile, Ishik reports about the upcoming school concert and asks that the rehearsals be carried out under the supervision of Kamal and Burju. The director approves of this idea, so the teachers have to communicate again and agree on rehearsals. Sinan is on 10 days sick leave, but decides to go to school to see Ishik. He forbids father to take away the painting she liked and hurries to the girl to confess his feelings. Ishik suspects that Sinan wants to say something bad and leaves without realizing that he had strong feelings for her. The beaten schoolboy asks Kerem to break up with Eid because she previously declared that she had feelings. Karam decides to talk to the girl, and she admits that she wants to be with him, but is afraid of it and is not ready for a relationship. The couple argues, after which Karam promises his classmate not to interfere with his communication with Eid. After the rehearsal, Kemal invites Burcu to have lunch at a Chinese restaurant and promises to cook for her, which makes a strong impression on the woman. Her fiancé treats her like a housekeeper and makes her do whatever he orders while remaining on the couch. Joint rehearsals lead to the house that Burcu and Kemal continue to grow closer. They feel good, easy and fun together, which begins to frighten the engaged woman. 5 friends understand that money is the most important thing in life, but it still cannot buy love. The next morning, Osman learns that Tunkay talked to the director and his business was closed down. The cunning groom Burcu wanted to take away the business, but in the end he received nothing and bankrupted Osman, depriving dozens of women and men of work. Osman understands that Sinan was right when he asked not to contact Tunkay, but decides to take revenge on him for this. Feeling attracted to each other, Kemal invites Burcu to his place. She would like to agree, but admits that she is already engaged and cannot have dinner with the physical teacher. Disappointed, the lover Kemal leaves and Burcu cries because he cannot be with the person he truly has feelings. Ada finds out about Sinan's sympathy for Ishik and offers to brush lips. The guy tries to show his feelings, but talks a lot, which only further disappoints the girl he cares about. Burcu and Kemal are arguing, and the teacher's friend wants to take advantage of the situation because she has feelings for the physical education teacher. Osman and the owner of a closed cafe decide to deceive Tunkay, forcing him to invest all his money in a profitable deal, which in fact turns out to be a scam. Burak clings to Eda and admits that Karam abandoned her. The girl is very offended by this, but she does not want to communicate with the schoolboy and asks to be left alone. In the evening, Ada goes to Sinan to talk it out and get practical advice because he is like a wise psychologist, always ready to help. Tunkay withdraws all the money from the accounts and leaves to make a deal to buy land that does not exist. The director does not lose hope of expelling the school children as soon as possible because in a couple of weeks Burcu will leave forever. Karam wishes Ida and her new boyfriend good luck. Offended by this behavior, Ada decides to go on a date with Burak, but continues to talk only about her feelings for the basketball player. Burak leaves the girl because she needs Karam, not him. In the evening, Ada and Ishik go to the teacher to talk about Kemal and her feelings. After drinking a little, the girls understand that it is important to value feelings and go home. 5 friends celebrate Ishik's birthday on a boat. The girl makes a wish to meet here in 20 years and accidentally falls into the water. Sinan jumps in next to save Ishik and the couple finally brushes lips. Ada confesses her feelings to Karam and secluded in a separate room, the couple enjoys the unforgettable time. Osman decides not to disturb the couples and goes home, continuing to think only about money. Meanwhile, Burcu realizes that he has feelings for Kemal and leaving the wedding ring on the table, goes to his home. Leaving the apartment, Burcu meets the groom and is forced to return home. He reports that the place has been robbed, but the teacher is not interested. She realized that she wanted to be loved and decided to leave her fiancé. He perceives this as the influence of alcohol, but Burcu is determined and kicks the man out of the apartment. Later, she nevertheless comes to Kemal, but is upset when she sees her friend at his house, who visited him a little earlier. The 5 friends feel that everything is working out for them, because they are all together and truly happy. In the toilet, Karam is accosted by Burak and his 4 friends, who decide to beat the guy because of his relationship with Ada. They are interrupted by a teacher who appears, causing the fight to be delayed a bit. The director is happy about the new chemistry room, which they spent a lot of money on renovating. Soon Burak and the guys who lured Karam here appear in it. Acting vilely, they attack the guy in a crowd and start beating him. Suspecting something wrong, Sinan and Osman begin searching for their comrade. Sinan is the first to find Karam and gets into a fight with the hooligans. They are soon joined by Ishik and Ada, defending their boys. Osman is the last to intervene in the fight to make the confrontation more fair. As a result, the chemistry classroom was completely destroyed, and one of the students went to the hospital with multiple injuries. Meanwhile, Burcu's parents, grandmother, and other relatives pester her over the phone, forcing her to change her mind and apologize to her fiancé. Once at school, the teacher learns about what happened. The The director can no longer tolerate these four and has agreed with the education department to change the voting system. Now, in order to expel Sinan, Osman, Kerem, and Edu from school, unanimity is not needed. A majority vote is sufficient. Trying to somehow disrupt the voting and save the guys, Burcu asks Kemal to activate the fire alarm. Not knowing the details, the physical education teacher helps the teacher and disrupts the voting, which is why it is postponed for several days. A little later, Burcu speaks to the guys and asks to talk to their parents, since there is no point in fighting further and it is better to find a new school. Later, Kemal communicates with Sinan and finds out why the teacher supports and protects them so much. Upon returning home, everyone tells their parents about their problem. Ishik's mother punishes her for her behavior, and Ada's parents decide to send her to France. Kemal forbids his father to interfere in his affairs, and Sinan's parents do not care about their eldest son, especially since they stole his painting. The next morning, they discuss what happened and realize that this is the end of their story. Burcu tries to find a solution to the problem, but she is distracted by her fiancé. He wants her to apologize and is willing to forgive her for her bad behavior. Not wanting to continue communication, Burcu drives Tunkay away and meets Kemal on the doorstep. He helps find a way out of the situation, but ultimately realizes that he must admit defeat because they will not help the schoolchildren. Meanwhile, Sinan visits Ishik to retell her missed lesson. In the present time, Ada comes to the old house and gives Ishik the same stolen painting. At the next meeting, Burcu no longer defends them. Moreover, she proposes to expel them as soon as possible. At the same time, the teacher reminds that in this way they will ruin the lives of them and deprive them of their future. By treating the top 5 as people and not a list of names, teachers understand that they do not have the right to influence human destiny. Burcu becomes the only one who votes for the expulsion of the guys. The rest support them. The director is ready to come to terms with this, but only on the condition that all 5 publicly apologize to the school. Having learned about this, schoolchildren mock their friends because they are trying to humiliate and break them, showing that they are pathetic and worthless. Having discussed all this, the 5 understand that they do not want to apologize and do not consider themselves guilty of anything. Burcu informs Kemal that she has broken up with her fiancé, which results strong feelings to appear. In the evening, they discuss what happened with their parents. Kemal's father, Ada's mother, and Ishik's parents ask them to apologize because this is a compromise thanks to which they will not ruin their lives. Having met, the friends decide to give in and publicly apologize. The next morning, the principal writes a humiliating speech for everyone to apologize to the entire school. Schoolchildren arrive with their parents and do not want to disappoint them, but they also do not allow themselves to be humiliated. Meanwhile, Burcu finds out that 5 guys deliberately brought her together with the physical teacher and leaves, not wanting to see them. The students take turns going on stage to read the apology, but do not do so. Each of them does not feel guilty and is rude to the director in the end, realizing that they will be expelled. After causing applause and delight, the 5 friends burn their school uniforms. Burcu wants to leave, but Kemal stops her because their feelings are real and they cannot live without each other. In the present time, Ada and Ishik are suffering from the past when suddenly they hear that someone knocked on the door, and it is probably Kemal, Sinan, and Osman.